I think we can start. So most of you have already been in the Galapagos Islands. It's a bucket list destination, of course, in Ecuador. And I'm really excited to share with you some operational facts and also some product updates that we have. Now that we can have some time to learn about the destinations, and I also welcome you to my home. I imagine that most of you are also working from home, and also forgive me if I have to catch my breath. I am in Quito, directly from Quito, 2,850 meters above sea level. So sometimes it's difficult. Let's start. This is gonna be a quick webinar. I hope 30 minutes. So as you know, Ecuador has 4 clear regions: the Amazon rainforest, the Andes mountains. Here you can find the Avenue of the Volcanoes, and also the Pacific coast. Then, cherry on top, you have the Galapagos Islands, and we are going to talk about this region today. So this is the first webinar of our webinar series that we are going to have on Monday. So stay tuned with our communications. Next Monday, we are going to talk more about the Amazon region and the Pacific coast. And as always, I want to start with this phrase of Alexander von Humboldt, when he said, "When you traverse Ecuador from the Amazon rainforest to the snowline of Cotopaxi, it equals a journey from Brazil to northern Canada in terms of climate changes and plant formations." So it's a really diverse country, as you know, one of the most biodiverse countries on Earth. And also, well, we have these 4 regions, but Jasci, our general manager, he always says that we even have a 5th region, that is the cloud forest. So it depends on the altitude, the ecosystem changes really drastically. So I want to start this journey in Quito. Let's imagine that you are in your VIP lounge in your local airport, and we are traveling now to Quito, the capital of Ecuador. And if you come from the coast, when you step out of the plane, you are going to be already like 3 kilometers with difference in altitude. So it's quite an experience, and this is the point where most of the tours start to the Galapagos Islands. So it's good to take a couple of days before or after to explore the city. And there is a lot to do in Quito. A lot of good food, restaurants, museums, art, music, parks. Quito is a cosmopolitan city with colonial history. We have one of the largest and best preserved historical centers in Latin America. So it's worth it. Now, as you know, the Galapagos Islands are located approximately 1,000 kilometers or 600 miles away from the continental Ecuador. And this makes the islands unique because the islands haven't had any kind of contact with the continent, and that's why you find pristine wildlife, and that's why there are so many endemic species that you can find here. So of course, the Galapagos Islands are widely known as a natural laboratory of evolution. The archipelago is of volcanic origin, so it sprung out of the ocean, and we have 13 main islands and more than 100 rocky islets. 4 of these islands are inhabited, being these Santa Cruz, San Cristobal, Isabella, and Floriana. Aside from that, Galapagos Islands are a national park. 97% of the territory is a national park, but not just that, it's also a marine reserve. So it's worth to explore it on the islands and also underwater. It was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1978, the world's first whale sanctuary, because here you can find up to 24 species of whales, and a natural laboratory, of course, where Charles Darwin conceived the evolution theory. He says that the visit to the Galapagos Islands was essential for the theory, and here he observed that the finches had different type of beaks depending on the island that they were living, and this is because they have different type of food, some insects, fruits, cactus. So that's how he realized and came up with the theory of evolution. And of course, the Galapagos Islands are the ideal place to see wildlife, to learn more about the evolution theory and direct contact with nature. So how to get to the Galapagos Islands? I can imagine that most of you have already been to the Galapagos or have already sailed a lot of packages and cruises to the Galapagos. And I'm just going to remind a little bit of the operation that you need to take into account when going to the Galapagos. So you start in Quito or Guayaquil. So usually you spend the night before in Quito or Guayaquil, and then you take a flight in commercial planes, commercial airlines from Quito, generally to Baltra, the most common option. And there is also another airport in San Cristobal. Here there is interesting fact about Baltra. Baltra was used in World War II as a base for the Americans. So they protected the Panama Canal from Baltra, and this was a flat territory that they found, so they could build the airport. So that is something interesting, and it was called Base Beta Beta. So then the locals called B3, and then it evolved to Baltra. So that's why it's called Baltra. So Baltra is located just a little bit north of Santa Cruz. And from Quito or Guayaquil, you have a direct flight, approximately 2-hour flight. These flights are usually in the morning up until noon or 1 p.m. And the flights back to the continental Ecuador are in the late morning, noon, and up to early afternoon, around 3:40 p.m. So what happens when you reach the airport? We don't have many transport options in the Galapagos Islands for obvious reasons. So we have a shared bus called Lobito. And just for you to know, there are no seats available in these buses, but it's just a short ride of 15 minutes. And as you see, this is where the adventure starts. And the alternative, there's just a couple of VIP vans in the airport for up to 12 passengers. Then when you arrive in Galapagos, after you take the transfer from Baltra Airport to the Itabaca dock, then you have to go through the Itabaca Channel. And then you go through Santa Cruz Island until you reach Puerto Ayora. So it depends if you're going to stay in a lodge in Santa Cruz, or maybe if you are going to go on a cruise, you have to reach Puerto Ayora, and it's going to take about 3 hours from the time that you arrive in Baltra Airport until you reach your hotel or cruise. So here you can see the Itabaca Channel, and there is something special about the packages we offer at Tropic, because we give the chance to clients to start the activities while the other tourists are still in the ferry. You can start doing kayak or stand-up paddle in the Itabaca Channel. Then from the Itabaca Channel, you can see in the photo, you just take a truck or a minivan, and then you go through the island until you reach Puerto Ayora. It's good to mention that there are some intra and inter-island transport units. And you have boats, like public speedboats. You can also charter some speedboats. And there are flights, short flights between Santa Cruz, Isabella, and San Cristobal. Those are just small planes from 5 to 9 seats. And the estimated navigation time inter-island is 2.5 hours. So as you can see, it's really easy if you are doing a land-based tour to transport yourself to the different islands and get to know more of the wildlife and do more activities in other islands. So what is good about Tropic, that we have our own office in Galapagos, in Puerto Ayora. You have personal assistance for transfers and embarkation, option of briefing and launch the VIP room at the airport. And as I was telling you, the option of heading directly to the Itabaca Channel for a kayaking or stand-up paddle experience. This is just exclusive of Tropic because we have the permits to do that. And you can have peace of mind because we have our team that you can see here in the photo, and also Jasci, our general manager, is here. So they will take care of any need of your clients. So how much time do I need to explore the Galapagos Islands? Of course, the minimum stay is 3 nights, even if you're doing a land-based or a cruise. There are some cruises that the minimum itinerary is 4 days and 3 nights. And the recommended stay, we always recommend to do it at least 1 to 2 weeks, so that you can get to know and visit most of the islands and see most of the species, because there are certain islands with specific species, of course. When to visit the Galapagos Islands? This is a really important question, and it's good to take into account that as we are located in the equator line, we don't have the 4 seasons, of course, just warm season and cold season. In Galapagos, the warm season is from December to June, where you can find more wildlife on land, flourishing vegetation, fewer land tortoises in April and May. The cold season from June to November, more marine wildlife, drier vegetation, cooler water you find also from July to September, which is the diving season, but you also find rougher seas. So the Galapagos Islands operate all year long, so it's not that you find a big difference. But of course, as the Galapagos have the influence of the Humboldt current and also La Niña, there are some months where the water will be cooler. So now let's talk a little bit about the islands. We start with Santa Cruz Islands. This is the main island where you find Puerto Ayora and where you find most of the population in Galapagos. And here I have a question for you. How many people do you think live in the Galapagos? Maybe 5,000, 10,000, or more. Please, you can answer also in the Q&A, and Daniela or Jasci will tell the right answer, because sometimes people think that there are no people living in the islands, but actually in Santa Cruz you find most of the population in Galapagos, and also most of the hotel options, and I'm going to show you a little bit more about them. So Santa Cruz, as you can see, is one of the central islands in the archipelago, and the perfect spot to start any tour if you're doing a land-based tour It's very well located, central, so you can easily reach Isabella, San Cristobal, Floriana, and some other islands and rocky islets. So in Santa Cruz Islands, of course, it's ideal for national park exploration. You can do some daily tours. Starting in the morning, you visit one island, a full day tour, and then you come back in the afternoon. You can do some diving, of course, snorkeling. There are incredible places to do that. Visit the Charles Darwin Research Station. This is a must visit when you go to Galapagos and Santa Cruz. Here you will learn more about the evolution theory and see the giant tortoise reserve. That is something that your clients cannot miss. Then San Cristobal is located to the east of the archipelago, and here we have the second airport in Puerto Vaquerizo Moreno. Here in San Cristobal, there is this kicker rock, a really nice attraction, ideal for doing snorkeling, even diving, where you can find marine tortoises, marine turtles, also sea lions. You find sharks. You can do island circumnavigation. It's easy to take a trip to Española from Cristobal, and if you have some clients interested in more activities and adventure, you can also do surfing. So now let's go to the biggest island, Isabella, this one that has like a seahorse shape, and this is one of the youngest islands in the archipelago. As I was telling you, all from volcanic origin. Some islands are 3 to 4 million years old, and there is something really interesting that some species have already been evolving more than 10 million years ago, but the islands are 3 to 4 million years ago, and they just sprung out of the ocean. And this is why Isabella is one of the most volcanic active island in the world, with people living on it. Also here you find the Galapagos penguins. So it's really, really strange to find penguins north of the equator, and this is a place where you can see the penguins, the second smallest penguin in the world, the Galapagos penguin. Also swim with sharks, hiking the Sierra Negra volcano. Here is a really nice spot to do some hiking from. You can do 2 hours, 4 hours, depending on the passenger and the level of difficulty. And also visit another giant tortoise breeding center. As you know, there are different species of tortoises depending on the island, so it's really interesting to learn about them. And let's talk about the 4 inhabited island in Galapagos, Floriana. Floriana is located to the south of the archipelago, and it's a really nice point to visit also in a land-based tour, where you can do some stargazing. When you have a clear sky, it's the perfect point for that. There is this curious place called the Post Office Bay Trail. As you can see, there is just a small post office here, and the pirates, the whalers, these big ships that used to come here 300 years ago, they used to put their letters here, and when other ship came, if they were going to that destination, they took all the letters and took them to the destination. So now it's also possible to drop some postcards there, and some people, some tourists still can take them to their countries if they are going near the address. So that is a really fun and unique attraction in this island. You can also find the sea lion colony to do amazing photos. and find one of the first settlements of human population here in the island. So it's not just about the wildlife, but also about the people that lives in the island. So as you know, we have different types of or modes of travel in the islands. Of course, we have first the land-based option, and we can say that the land-based is more flexible. You have more accommodation options, better price range, more private. You can also have the chance to have more contact with the locals, and it's ideal for those who are on a tight budget or schedule. So it's also easier to do some tailored activities for kids and family, and it's good if your clients suffer from seasickness. So in land-based, you can also do just a single island, stay just in Santa Cruz or San Cristobal generally, or do the island hopping, where you go from island, staying a couple of nights, and you can do that in Santa Cruz, San Cristobal, Isabella, and Floriana with really good lodging options. Then, of course, you have the cruise option, and that's how the tourism started in the Galapagos in the 80s with the cruises, and actually Tropic was a pioneer in the land-based options starting in the 90s. So cruising is also a good option if you want to go further to the further islands, for the attractions. There are some different type of cruises, most of them naturalist ones, and some specific for diving. So of course you have a wider scope of visits, you optimize time of transfer between sites because you navigate in the night and you visit a new island on each day. And there are some sites that are exclusive for the cruise ships that you can not reach if you are doing a land-based, especially those places north of Isabella. So here, well, you have less hassle, more flexible. Well, less flexible because you have fixed itineraries, and let's say that it's less intimate because you are all the time sharing with more people, unless it's a charter cruise. And of course, this is like the higher price range, but it's good if you want to see specific sites of flora or fauna. And the best of both worlds is a land and cruise mix, if time and budget permit. So you can stay a couple of nights in Santa Cruz, maybe in the highlands, sharing with the giant tortoises, and then you can ride a cruise. So let's talk a little bit about the land-based options. What is good about the land-based is that you have a wide range of options in terms of lodging, like safari style, these tented camps, luxury lodges. We have family-friendly options and more, let's say, urban style hotels in the island. As you can see here, you have the chance to share and to see the main reason to visit the Galapagos, that is to see the giant Galapagos tortoises. So we in Tropic have this special option of lodging called Magic. This is a really nice place where you find 6 tents, 6 tree houses, and we will also have some suites coming soon. So it's ideal if you want to have an experience with the giant tortoises. They are roaming free around. You can have just a breakfast and see them just feet away from you. And there's also this lava cave. This is a favorite post-dinner activity, and just a short walk to the natural lava tubes, ideal for a nightcap and just relax around the fire and share stories from the day's adventure. So that is the perfect way to end the day. And also Magic Galapagos features a middle deck, another special spot where you can see, of course, the sunset, and we can also offer some special activities like a special class to do a local cocktail. So this is ideal if you're traveling in a group and you want to do a different activity. And aside from just being a tented camp, a lodging option, we have a nice project here that is the Magic Conservation Area. Here we have 12 hectares that are going to be dedicated just to take care of the giant tortoises, and we are going to plant 48,000 native escalacia trees, providing more space as well as food and shade for the tortoises, 2 drinking pools that will be constructed to provide water, a nursery for growing more trees, and an interpretation center to learn more about these incredible species. So it's not just about the lodging option and helping the local community, but also a sustainable option to take care of this endemic species. And I also wanted to let you know a little bit more about the options you find here in Santa Cruz. Near Galapagos Magic, you find Montemar. These are private villas. You can see really nice villas where you can also have contact with the Galapagos tortoises. And this option is ideal for families. There are 3 villas here. So there's the option just for you to cook with your family, and also if you want just to have a private chef experience, and also do some wellness activities like yoga or massages, spa. So if you just want to relax with your family and start your trip in Galapagos, this is a really good option. Also, we have Galapagos Habitat in Santa Cruz. This is a really nice hotel with seafront. So your room is going to face directly to the sea, and there are some fauna spectacles every minute practically. So it's a really good option with 17 rooms. And the Galapagos Habitat is also well complemented with this yacht, the Windrose. So this is a really good option if you're doing a land-based tour. The Windrose is a state-of-the-art Sunseeker, a motor yacht for up to 16 passengers. So as you saw already, it's really easy to travel from island to island in the Galapagos, and this is a really good option. You stay in a really nice hotel in the highlands or in Puerto Ayora, and then do daily activities in this luxurious motor yacht. So there are some full-day tours that are available from Santa Cruz, of course. You can reach Bartolomé in 2 hours. If you want to see some species that are not in all islands, you find here the Galapagos penguin. You find blue-footed boobies, marine iguana, Galapagos hawk. You can also travel to North Seymour just in 1 hour, South Plazas 1.5 hours, Santa Fe also 1.5 hours. All of them, of course, have different species of wildlife and some specific points to do underwater exploration, like snorkeling. So, of course, we can send you more information about this later. And let's talk quickly about the sea-based options, where, as you already know, we have different types of ships, of hulls. You can find catamarans, vessels, yachts, small ships for 12 to 16 passengers, and our big ships that are not so big, that can have up to 100 passengers. So now that we're in this, let's say, strange times that people are looking for more private options, maybe you can consider doing a land-based trip in a private villa where you can, and we can have more control of all the conditions. In the cruises, of course, is a little bit more difficult. You're always going to be surrounded with people, but it's of course a good option in the Galapagos because you already have most of the activities included, your own naturalist guide. If you like to do sailing, this is ideal. And what about the size and capacity of the vessel? Smaller is not necessarily better. If there is a small yacht, you have less privacy from other passengers because you have fewer common areas. Greater sea motion is perceived, and you have less guides on board. Of course, in these small yachts, there are less activities. In the big yachts, you even find jacuzzi, they have a kayak, stand-up paddle, some even glass bottom canoe. So it depends on the type of passenger, on the type of experience. This is also good when you want to charter all the ship for a family, for a group of friends, up to 16 passengers, because in Galapagos we have this regulation, the guide and tourist ratio is 16 passengers maximum. So yeah, this is a favorite option for European markets mostly. And the bigger boats are best for people who suffer from seasickness because you're going to feel the waves and the motion of the sea. So as I was telling you, in the cruises you find more type of activities and equipment already included, snorkeling equipment that is generally included in the price. Sometimes the wetsuit may cost extra. You also have kayaking, stand-up paddling options, and the glass bottom boats that are usually available only on the bigger vessels. It's also good for extra activities like naturalist lectures. They sometimes offer kids activities. There's a doctor on board generally in the big ships, and there is more public spaces in the big ones. So the Wi-Fi is scarce in the islands, but some of them have Wi-Fi free or at extra cost. And finally, I wanted you to invite you to look at the South American Academy. You can find this link in our Tropic webpage, www.tropiceco.com, in our agent hub. And you can learn more about the islands and the type of ships, the different attractions, wildlife, and some other destinations in South America. So you can request access to the Galapagos, to the South American Academy, and also we have a nice image bank called South American Visuals that could help your marketing efforts. And if you want to use it in your webpage, in your marketing material, it's totally fine. So just to end, I wanted to remind you that we are located in Ecuador with 2 offices, one in Quito. Here you can see the team in Quito, and 1 office in Galapagos. So we are able to offer you any kind of tour in mainland Ecuador and the Galapagos Island with the best quality, and we have won some awards in the years. We have been operating more than 25 years, and it all started with Jasci, our general manager, always thinking in sustainable tourism and sustainable options in Ecuador. So that's why we always try to include the local population. We have some specific programs so that you can have contact directly with the people that is living here in Ecuador. So it's the other side of Ecuador that we are offering you in our tours and programs. Thank you very much. I hope you have enjoyed this short presentation. If you have more questions, you can drop us an email at diego.escobar@tropiceco.com, and we will be really glad to answer any question that you might have. So let me just see the chat. Okay, Jasci have already answered the questions, and I'm really happy that you enjoyed the webinar. Please let us know if you have any other question or comment. Thank you for attending today's webinar, and stay tuned for next Monday. We will have the Amazon region and the Pacific Coast with some insider tips, also some operational facts that we have to take into account when traveling to the Amazon and the Pacific Coast, and some recommendations and suggestions of the properties and hotels. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a great week. Bye, and I will also send you this recorded webinar so that you can share with your colleagues. Have a great week. Gracias. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you, Daniel, Peggy, Katrina, Laura, Sadana, Carolina, Yanika, and everyone that have attended. Isabel, thank you very much for joining.